Sleeping evil, long-lost heroes, and a world without wizards? The Rings of Power is Middle-earth like you've never seen it before. Amazon Studios' highly anticipated series, The Lord of the Rings: The Rings of Power, promises to be an exciting new chapter of on-screen Middle-earth adventures. The show has been in development for years, ever since the studio bought the rights to portions of The Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit back in late 2017. Since then, untested yet inspired showrunners J.D. Payne and Patrick McKay promised to dive deep into Middle-earth lore by exploring a critical part in Tolkien's Legendarium, the events surrounding the forging of the Rings of Power.
One ring to bring them all, and in the darkness, fight them.
This sweeping setting will go far beyond the mere creation of overpowered jewelry, though. Promotional material has consistently hinted at a vast saga that stretches from the powerful island nation of Numenor in the west to the icy wastes of the Forodwaith in the north to the toasty Southlands and beyond. The ability to balance multiple story arcs set across such a large area will be one of the showrunner's biggest tasks. Far-reaching geography isn't the only challenge, though. Time is another concern. Tolkien's world is known for its complexity and richness, much of which comes from its sprawling, intricate history, which the author mapped out for tens of thousands of years. In the books, the events depicted in the show are supposed to occur over a sweeping 3,500-year stretch of Middle-earth history. In comparison, the bulk of the Lord of the Rings story takes place within the short and sweet time span of a single year. The Hobbit occurs in a similarly short time frame. So when exactly does this massive Rings of Power timeline take place, and how will it fit into the Lord of the Rings history that we all know and love? Well, we've known the chronological setting of the Rings of Power for years now. Back in early 2019, the show's official Twitter page announced that it would be focusing on the Second Age of Middle-earth. This was exciting and nerve-wracking news for Tolkien fandom, who had never before experienced an on-screen adaptation of this early era of Tolkien's world. In case you're feeling a little lost, here are some basic facts. The Second Age is nearly 3,500 years long. Unsurprisingly, it comes before the Third Age and after the cataclysmic events of the First Age. In fact, the events of the Rings of Power will be playing out somewhere between 3,000 and 6,500 years before anything that takes place in The Lord of the Rings. This means a lot for the way Middle-earth will look in the show. For instance, the resurgent Sauron won't be around just yet. While certainly alive spiritually, Gandalf and the other Istari won't quite be around in their incarnate wizarding forms. There isn't a Balrog in Moria, and Mordor won't yet exist. There will be a few familiar faces, though. Characters such as Galadriel and Elrond will play vital roles in the show, and at some point or another, we'll get to revisit regions such as Rivendell and Khazad-dûm. And then there's Sauron himself, whose terrible influence on Middle-earth will only grow as the series draws on. Some aspects of the show might be unfamiliar even to fans of the books. One of the biggest changes in this sense has to do with the timeline. In an interview with Vanity Fair in February 2022, it was revealed that the story was going to condense the entire timeline of the Second Age into a single point in time. The reason for this staggering change is to avoid a ton of cast turnover with the show's mortal characters. While this makes sense from a practical perspective, it does present a few issues. Tolkien strikes a remarkable cadence in his storytelling in spite of the fact that it takes place over hundreds of years. The immense span allows him to set up high stakes that will be hard to replicate in a single story. Patrick McKay and J.D. Payne seem to think it's possible to pull this off, however, and they even have the backing of the Tolkien estate for their plans. Can they really manage it? That's a question that only time can answer.